Is NVIDIA stock ready to bounce from here? What in the world is going on with Tesla? We need to look at the charts to see what's happening. Bitcoin, is it going to tumble a little bit more? Wait until you see that. Plus, we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate tomorrow. So how exactly are the markets setting up? We're going to talk about all that and more in this video. Also, at the end, if you stay to the end, I got a special treat for you that I think some of you are really going to like based on some of my previous videos that I had a while ago. And it's time to brush the dust off. You'll see what I mean as soon as you see the technicals up on the screen. So guys, about to put those technicals up. If you like what you see, the like button's down there. If you really like what you see, consider supporting the channel using the link for the Patreon. There's also a link for a technical analysis trading course. I'll tell you guys about that later. First, the charts. Here we go. We are looking at NVIDIA. At least now we're looking at NVIDIA. This is the hourly chart that we're viewing, and I really want to draw your attention to this part right in here, which is where we've been since we took that big old drop. We are struggling to pop 108 and keep it. So 108 is a big number, all the way up to 109 is a big number, and you can see anytime that we've been up there, we've been unable to keep it. We're sort of range bound in this near-term time. And well, what do we see? This is a little bit bear flaggy for my liking. However, we are also hitting solid support down here. I think that tomorrow is going to be a big day, not only for NVIDIA, but I think for the markets in general. And I think it's absolutely keeping an eye on to see what exactly is going to happen. We actually have on an hourly basis, we have a rising momentum. We have rising RSI down here. Let me move the volume up, I'll move the RSI up, and you can see on an hourly basis on the intraday chart, we are trying to get back up above there. We're really working hard at that. If we go up to some of the higher time frames on this one to see more of what we're looking at, let's go out to the daily chart, then we'll go out to weekly just to see. So RSI, you can see we're down below 50 on this. Momentum still negative. Getting some decent green candles off of this one, but you can see still checking out the ceiling, rejected. So tomorrow, maybe we start to look at floor again. If support holds at this price target of 105, which we hit, then I think we could go back up, retest this resistance, and maybe that's that time that we come up and catch that 112. We're going to have to watch and see what happens for us. Now, if we zoom out and go across this thing, down here is about $97, $98 for these previous peaks. That's going to be huge for us to the downside if we head that way. Got a little bit of a hope, a little bit of a hook here on the RSI. Going up to the weekly chart from here is really going to be very telling for us for a longer term trend. So yeah, we got that sell. Go to the weekly chart. We are still above 50. We're slowing down. We're dropping. But however, we got a decent bounce for right now. I can't tell you just how critical it is that we pop this 108 that's in here where you see that resistance, that the flag that's right here for you. Let me move my cursor. There we go. It's this one. And this red line that's coming across your screen, that's going to be absolutely huge for determining the future direction of NVIDIA in the near term. So we'll see what influence we get from that. On a weekly, we're still bullish, but with declining momentum, you can see the drop that we've had over time. We need to see a push back up above this low in the RSI. That's really going to help us out to show momentum climb, especially overtaking this peak. But on a weekly basis, I think we'd see substantial price appreciation before that happened. We can actually take a pretty hard bounce off the 50 if instead of crossing it and going bearish, bouncing off of it is actually a pretty bullish thing. Again, weekly chart, longer term time horizon as we look at it, and we'll see what NVIDIA has in store for us. Don't think that it's down and out yet. There's the potential that it drops more. Honestly, as a long-term investor, I get kind of hungry every time I think of a two-digit value to NVIDIA stock, because to me, the cheaper it gets, the easier it is to buy more shares. And not financial advice, only speaking for myself here, just the thoughts that I have. So NVIDIA, near term, we could show more pain. We really want to watch the support area. We need to see that hold up. There's a lot of support that's down there. Got some 61.8 in here, about 103. And so far, we've tested that support 3 times. It's held up all 3 times. We've also tested resistance 3 times. It's held up 3 times. So the battle's being fought, my friends, and it really matters. Breaking support, it's probably going to sell a lot more. It's probably going to be a pretty hard break. Breaking resistance is going to probably break pretty high. We're going to get some nice appreciation off of that. We're going to have to watch and see. Near term, still kind of bearish momentum. Longer term, still kind of bullish momentum. The battle's being fought. We'll see who wins. Let's move over to Tesla. Tesla, I talked about this consolidation pattern that we had. Said breaking above is a bullish thing. Well, we broke above it today. And so today, let me see, we crossed this thing right around 222. And we actually took a trip all the way up to 235 even on this one, breaking up. So we got my first price target, nailed it. Second price target, nailed it. So we actually exceeded just a little bit, but we couldn't hold it so far. We did close at above let me see what that line is, 228, 229. Closing up above that is good for us for a bullish direction. We need to find out where that ceiling is. It looks like so far, if I zoom in there a little bit more, you can see just how much of a floor that has served as. We don't necessarily know where the top is yet, but we're doing all right so far. It kind of cooled off from this overbought status on an hourly basis and still moving up. Let's take a look at Tesla on a longer period chart here. So here's the daily chart. You can see that strong break that we had above that consolidation. Worked out very handsomely. You can also see that we caught down here at the open. We opened just above this bottom resistance that we have on here, making it support. And we came up here, got rejected, sold back down. So we're like right in the middle of like a no man's land, if you will. And so this is one where we need to watch and see if we break up above. We have a free float on this. If we break up above, we have a free ride pretty much up to about 242. You can see that's our previous peak that we have over here at about 235. So going up above that, let's see if we actually broke it. So we actually had 234.68 and we had 234.27. So that is a new high. We didn't close up there. Closing up above that, like I said, it's even more of a green light for making it up there. Tesla's RSI. So what kind of momentum do we have on a daily basis? We actually flipped bullish on this thing. Let's see if I can get my cursor in the right place. Check out that volume too. That's decent volume confirmation. Means our run could potentially not be done. And check out the RSI. It is up above. Let me grab a horizontal line so you can see it even better. We are up above the previous peaks that we had on this. As a matter of fact, the last time we had this much momentum, that goes back to the 23rd of July. So the fact that we've made it back up to that, broke all these previous peaks in between, this is rising momentum, building momentum, and you can see the move that we got as a result of that. So this one that I'm tracking, I have the technicals posted over at the Discord. That link is available down in the description if you want to see what I'm buying, which, like I said, that special treat at the end of this video. I actually took a position today. I'll share with you what that is, and that is shared throughout the trading day over at the Discord, available through the Patreon link down in the description. And you guys can do this technical analysis yourself. You can do it throughout the trading day. If you want to learn how, you can find a link down in the description for Stockmo Academy. You can click on that, sign up, and then you get the bread recipe, which is a wonderful trading strategy. Super simple to set up, super simple to follow, and it works out very well. Doesn't necessarily mean profit every time, but man, I'll tell you, you learn how to use that, it will definitely positively impact your trading game. So I also have a chapter in that course, by the way, about in that Stockmo Academy course for trading, especially using the bread recipe. I have mine is on options itself. Absolutely love trading options. That link down in the description. Use code word doctor when you sign up. Back over to the charts. So Tesla, possible that we're not done yet, especially off the volume that we got today. That was a good move. We could potentially have more. We have to wait until 8:30 tomorrow to really see if we throw water on this fire that we have going on and put it out with high unemployment and low non-farm payrolls, or if we keep the punch going at the party with low unemployment and high non-farm payrolls. So we're going to have to watch and see what we get at 8:30. All right, Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually decided it was going to come down and make it official for my price target. So remember, I put this price target on after we already came down and touched this. I had the support there, but I didn't identify it as a price target. I actually moved that up yesterday when we closed, gave that update in my video yesterday. Today, we actually came down, tried it out again, hit that first price target. If this support fails, you can see us heading down to $54,049. And then after that is the 51.35. My goodness, 51.357. So $51,357. So keep in mind these supports and stuff. You can take a screenshot here. So you can do whatever the heck you want with it, really, and make the most of it. Here's the upside prices. If instead we flip bullish from here, you can see that we actually have some decent buying pressure that comes in at these levels, and we'll see if it holds out. I guarantee you that tomorrow, 8:30, huge catalyst with what we have for the market. All right, let's go to the charts that we have for the S&P, for QQQ, for IWM. Like I said, that treat at the end, I think it's also going to be impacted by what we get tomorrow. So non-farm payrolls, we are absolutely, I cannot stress it enough how much the market cares about jobs numbers right now, because I think they're treating that as the recessionary signal that's going to impact the markets. So I think that we could see that happen pretty immediately at 8:30 when those numbers drop. I like to use trading economics. It brings the numbers onto one place, but then I usually go, if I need to go see the primary source, I'll go to whoever puts that out, whether it's U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics or something like that, BLS or something like that, or it'll even go over to St. Louis Fred and look at some of the charts that they put together. Those are all wonderful resources, by the way. And the CME FedWatch tool, just so you know, that's another place that I'm going to be looking, which right now we have like a 41% chance for a 50 basis point rate cut at the September meeting on September the 18th, and 59% for a 25 basis point cut using the CME FedWatch tool on that meeting for September the 18th. So that is going to also be a huge catalyst for us, which means that we probably have some inflation numbers also coming in between now and then. So those are most likely next week. As a matter of fact, I can tell you exactly when they are. Just let me do a little bit of scrolling. And so what we have for next week, there you go. CPI is on Wednesday, September the 11th. And then PPI numbers are on Thursday, September the 12th. So they'll absolutely be in the week before the Fed comes out and speaks. And I don't expect the inflation numbers to be anything surprising. If they do surprise to the upside, especially drastically, that would not be great for us. ISM services data came in today, and the numbers seem to pretty much fall all in the right places where we still see some expansion in services happening. Contraction would have been bad. It would have been something recessionary signaling, things below 50. I talked about that earlier, and we didn't get that. We actually got some pretty solid numbers in the 50s, and some numbers that we wanted to be soft came in soft, and some that we wanted to come in strong came in strong. So that's a good summary. Trading economics, if you go to their calendar, set it up for the U.S. when you go to countries, you'll see it on there. So about tomorrow, though, 8:30, unemployment rate, I think, is the biggest thing that we're going to watch. Non-farm payrolls is huge, don't get me wrong, but unemployment rate, like it ticked up to 4.3 the last time. If that ticks up again, 4.4, yikes. It's not going to be great. I think it's going to be significant downward pressure for the markets, and that means that the TMF call that I sold today, because I didn't want the coin flip tomorrow, because if we go to 4.2, then my TMF play, I think, is going to get diminished. But if we go to 4.4, 4.5 would be absolutely bonkers. Like, I think we'd see a significant red in the markets if we jumped 0.2% from where we're at right now. I think that'd be confirmation of the SOM rule, which last time it was said it was triggered, and then some other people were saying, yeah, but kind of, but not really. So the more evidence that we get towards that would be downward pressure for the markets. All right, so that said, let's move over into the indices, and we'll get those charts going. So I stripped off my technicals for this just so you can see. I can put them back on in a moment. This is important, though. For SPY, we broke down below the 50 blue line, which is here. That's the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart, and this is the 50 EMA right here. And we actually found support at the EMA, and we ended up closing actually above both of them. So that's a good thing to find that support in there. Now, mind you, it puts us in that nail biter cliffhanger kind of ending before we set up for non-farm. This is one of the ways that I think that you know that tomorrow is an important day, because we kind of set to go either way, either wildly bouncing from here upward, or it's one that's going to send us careening downward. That's if those numbers come in very surprising ways. If they come in kind of mid, then our reaction's kind of mid. It's like, okay, well. So we're looking for the upside for confirmation of Goldilocks. So no recession, Fed softens up rates, and everybody has a good time. However, if it's not that, if it is recessionary, then we got to watch out for that. We do have some bearish signals happening here. The RSI also down near 50. Like, I'm telling you, this is a very tense chart, is the way that I'm going to talk about it. I think there's a big move over the next several days coming. So tomorrow is going to set it off, and then we'll see what direction that heads up until we get the Fed meeting, assuming that the inflation reports that we get, CPI and PPI, don't affect it very much. So for the technicals on this, just some of the numbers. We're still dancing around the support resistance that I have here this time. This green line, which we actually closed below, it's going to dance over to being red because we closed below it. Now it's resistance for us, whereas yesterday it was support. And I mean, we're right around that. Just another reason why I think that we have such a nail biter cliffhanger kind of ending to the day today, which I think is very expected. The market has a magical way of making that happen. So we could definitely blast off to the upside and really smash through that resistance if we get favorable reports, especially strongly favorable reports for reinforcing the Goldilocks scenario. Down to the downside of that if we get some bad news and if we think that it's going to be recessionary instead. So that's how I'm thinking about this, and I think it's going to be a coin flip until we get those reports at 8:30 tomorrow. QQQ, check this out. Look at those high wicks that we have coming off of that. We're down below the 50 EMA and SMA, And we're also down below the other faster moving averages, the 5 and the 13. Matter of fact, getting rejected off the 5. Not a great looking chart, RSI in bearish territory. And so this one's ready to head lower if it has to. Now, if you remember NVIDIA's chart that we had, and NVIDIA was kind of mixed, Q's is kind of mixed. I think the two are still very highly correlated with one another. This thing's set to move again in either direction, much like what we saw with the S&P. So if I put the technicals up here, we got rejected twice. We fell down through the resistance here. When we did have it as support, fell down through, got rejected, and we're floating just above it off these previous lows that we have over here, finding a little bit of buying pressure, really holding us up there. However, down to the downside of this, I have a price target at 454 and then 443 and then all the way down here at 428, which I'll probably move that one. Let's move that one up a little bit because I think actually, you know what I'll do? I actually want this one to be down here, which is, yeah, that's still 428, but I want to move this one down to the 200-day now that the 200-day is climbing up so much on us. And I think that's going to be a much better look. That'll also move easier if I turn the magnet off. There we go. So watch that price. Tomorrow we get bad news. Watch for that test of the 200-day. That can be a very good bounce zone for us. Pushing down through it, getting and retesting it, and hitting our heads off it and sending down lower can be even worse. So let's move along. IWM. Look again, just like what we saw with the S&P. Real nail biter right around the 50s and has sort of a bearish setup right now, but tomorrow could change that again if we get super favorable numbers. The technicals that we have for the Russell 2000 ETF here, we are back inside of the regular part of the bull channel. So I can show you quickly on the monthly chart how that looks. It's going to look a little bit wild, so bear with me here. So with the monthly chart, you can see the massive bull channel. I even have it listed this way. I know it looks like an old VHS tape. The red areas we sell pretty massively when we start to get to those, and we were just at one of those and sold pretty massively. We spend most of the time in between the white diagonal lines, and anytime we hit the green diagonal line, besides the pandemic, we rip substantially. Pandemic was even more of a monster. So let's go back down to the daily chart so we can get a better view that doesn't look so noisy, if you will, because you can see that we just fell through that support. So I actually need to change this from green to red, turn it into resistance for us. There we go. So now we have that resistance, and now I'm going to call this critical resistance because now it is. Perfect. All right. And we're also going to change the background on that to red because it matters. Now it's resistance and it's labeled that way. And I'm also going to advance it over here because we've actually passed that point in time. There we go. So breaking back up above this, if we're going to see further upside for IWM, is huge. We're going to have a tough time up until about 213 in the near term. Breaking up above that, we have room to about 216. After that, about 219 before we really hit some massive resistance following that as well. All right, so it's time for that treat. So the last one that I have for you, this is one that I actually made a play on today. I said I would share it with you, so I'll share it with you. And it could be one of those long shots for some reasons that I'll describe. And that magic that I have, that little treat, is DJT. All right, so here's the chart for DJT, and you can see going all the way back to the events that happened the weekend of July the 13th, which led to the massive spike, and it's been pretty much a straight sell since that time. So we had some profit taking, and then it also led up to where there's a lockout period expiration that's coming up, and that lockout period keeps people like Donald Trump, who are major shareholders in, well, what was DWAC and now it's DJT. That allows them to sell as of September the 19th. So this is some of that worry that we get with that expiration coming up next week, where you get that potential sell, and this is the market anticipating that potential sell. So what we could be looking at is trying to catch a falling knife. So this is a very high risk play, and this is for the stock market cowboys out there who just can't help themselves with risk. So this is one that I shared over at the Discord. We'll see how it plays out over there. I got in the low-ish 17s for this, and I think that we might find that bounce coming. We do need to close up above 1750 to have that right up to 1950. If we do catch that, that's another 10%, 10 to 12 to 13% up above where it's at right now. To take that ride, if we do catch 1950, if we really blast off for some reason, maybe that tomorrow we get really good numbers from the economic reports, that thing could really be a rocket ship for us. Now, mind you, there's also the downside of it. In the event that support does not hold, in the event that we get bad news tomorrow, or in the event that there is that selling, or whatever other reasons, if this is catching a falling knife and you end up bleeding, down here's what it looks like to get bloody. $15 if I'm wrong, $13.13 if I'm wrong. So didn't put up a lot of capital for this because it is such a high risk play. Just taking a quick moment to tell you about the details of the play. It's a 20th of September expiration, so that's wildly fast. Time value is gonna bleed away quick on something like that, so this thing's got to move. It is a $17 strike for a call on DJT stock. So we're gonna cowboy up for this one. Back to the technicals. Honestly, ideally, tomorrow's that day that it hits out as we come potentially off of oversold status. So we're going to have to watch for that. But I think that this is one, just copy the technicals down. Take a screenshot of this, put them up on your own chart and watch and see what happens. Watch and see how close I was with these supports and resistances. I think it's going to work out pretty well, as it has been working out pretty well. So I think that it's going to keep just working that way like it has with all the other things that I've charted and shared with you here on YouTube, or I've shared the technicals over at the Discord available through the Patreon. Like I said, that link's down in the description. Come on over and join us, guys. We'd love to have you over there, see my buys and sells. And then also, guys, link for that technical analysis trading course, that's also in the description. Grab that. Use code word doctor when you sign up. It's going to save you a ton of cash, and you get a top-notch learning community with that through Discord as well, through Stockmo Academy. And then you learn about the bread recipe, how to set it up, how to use it, everything. Guys, it's wonderful. I really do support everything that's in there in that Stockmo Academy course. I've been through it myself, and it is solid. It's tight, easily digestible pieces that are over there. Lots of value for every penny that you spend. And, it's a lot of people, there's no guarantee of profit, but a lot of people do cover in just a trade or two, and the course is paid for, and it's a course that you have for life. Guys, thanks for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.